Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you new here, my name is Donna, and for those of you not new, thank you so much for continuing to come back and support my channel. You'll never know how much I appreciate all of you for being here today. Today I thought I would do my favorites of 2020, and these are always favorite finds for me. Some of them came out this year, some of them did not. Some of them are entirely new brands to my collection, and these are just the items that I have from them, and some of them are really old brands, period, that I have tried in the past maybe, but just found a new love for the brand because of this one item or whatnot. But I thought I would share with you today some of my favorite finds of 2020. I also want to preface this with saying I don't do end of year wrap up videos in December because I want to give you guys more creative content during December when I am uploading and posting every single day. So I always do my end of year wrap up videos in January. I feel like we all need a whole lot of content in January as well. I also feel weird some kind of way about posting end of year videos in a year that is still happening. So there's that. 2020 was such a hot mess for everybody though. So Lord knows how you feel about it, but that's how I feel, and that's why we're doing my wrap-up videos throughout the month of January and probably the beginning of February. I know I have a lot that I want to post. I did say at one point in time that I thought I could post a video every day in January, and I still feel that way, but I didn't want to pressure myself. I'm going through my feed these days and I'm not seeing a whole lot of content coming out in January. So what do you guys think about doing a video every day in January instead of a video every day in December? I would be interested to hear. How do you guys like the lip today? I'm not sure I love it. It's a little bit out of my box. It's a little red, it's a little orange. I do have one of the lip liners I'm going to talk about on my lips. It is the Colourpop Absolute Zero, and it's very coral. And then I have a YSL lip oil over the top of it that's in my Simply Sample series, so there's that. I'm going to dive right into these products. I do have a lot of favorite finds of 2020, so there's a lot of them. So let's just dive in. No rhyme or reason to this, no ranking to this, but there were several different like foundation products on my list. You all know that at some point during this last year I went kind of ham on purchasing some foundations, and then I also had one roll into me just because I had forgotten foundation when I went to see my family after quarantine lifted, and then another one that rolled into me because a subscriber bought me a full face at drugstore, and I don't typically buy drugstore, so we all know that, right? So with that said, I did kind of go ham on foundations this year. This was only the first full year that I've ever worn foundation. I know in 2019 I actually started dabbling in putting foundation on my face, but prior to that point I didn't really wear foundation all that often, if at all. So I found some favorites that I thought that you should know about, and this doesn't replace any favorites that I've said in the past. I think Too Faced Peach Perfect was on a list of favorites in the past, as well as the Pure 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie. Those are still really favorite foundations for me. I do think that the Too Faced one is going out, which makes me sad, but these are some new ones that I found this year that I absolutely love. So this is the Fenty Pro Filter Hydrating Longwear Foundation. I am in the shade 260. This was a pretty perfect match for me. I did pull this in one of my samples videos. When I first tried it, I hated it. I hated it, and I think the biggest reason is because I was going through this time period where I was using like a brush to put on my foundation, and I put it on with a brush and I hated how it looked on my skin, and I didn't like her first foundation either. I love her shade range. I love what she stands for, and I love most of Fenty's products. There are some, you know, opportunity moments in that line, but I hated the foundations. So when I got this one and actually tried a sample of it, hated it. I thought, no biggie, no harm, no foul. Fenty foundation just isn't for me. As soon as I started utilizing also my sponge to put this foundation on my face, I loved it. It sits on my skin so well. It's not too dry for me as a dry skin girl. It's also not too dewy. It gives me the perfect mix of matte and dewy that I feel like I need, which is what I was doing with my Too Faced Peach Perfect foundation in conjunction with the Becca Skin Love. One was matte, one was hydrating, and I would mix them together to have my perfect bit of dewiness. I really feel like this gives that to my skin without trying and without having to mix foundations. The second one is this is the L'Oreal Infallible, the 24-hour Freshware. This was given to me in my subscriber buys my makeup. JC did a really good job with this, and if I have to be honest, when she opened up that bag and pulled this foundation out of there is what she had purchased, I was like, I hated the Infallible Pro Matte or Infallible Pro Glow. I hated that on my skin. It broke out my skin. I didn't know what was going on with that foundation. Honestly, if I had walked past this myself in the drugstore, I had been like, nope, ward it off. This is beautiful. This is beautiful on my skin. I feel like it goes on and it gives like this really just pretty natural finish while also giving coverage. I can see a little bit of peekabooing of my actual skin through it, but it's not awful. It doesn't look horrible, and it wears for so long. Now, I didn't try the 24-hour mark on this. I never got that far with this, but it does wear so well. And even as it starts to like break apart, like with the mask on your face, if it's breaking apart, it just, I don't know, perfectly blends into your natural skin that you can't really tell that you have foundation that's breaking away because it's rubbing on the mask. I think this is a beautiful foundation. I am in the shade 455. I will repurchase this drugstore foundation for many years. Right now I've got way too many to go through, so I won't be purchasing it now. I actually recently took a picture of it so I could throw away the bottle and keep the picture so that I know what foundation to go after in the drugstore when the time comes to purchase more foundations. Another one I got really surprised by this year is the Hourglass Stick Foundation. This is in the shade Shell. This is my pretty perfect shade for my skin tone, which shocks me because Shell is usually pretty light. This also was an item that came to my collection via my sample series, and I tried it and I loved it. I think that this is really the first stick foundation that I've ever had in my collection that isn't too creamy, isn't too stiff, but is the perfect amount of creamy and stiff that it just works so well on the skin. I feel like it stays on my skin rather well. I feel like I could maybe use this stick foundation for the rest of my life and not have any qualms with needing to try another stick foundation. And it's just super easy to use. You just put it on your face and blend it in. You can use your fingers, you can use a brush, you can use a sponge, and it looks great no matter what application process you have for it. So Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation has become a favorite of mine this year and a really great find for 2020. And the last one that I want to talk about is actually from a cosmetics company that I have all but wrote off because there's just not a lot from this cosmetics company that I love anymore. Friend of mine, her name is Yessie Gonzalez, she did a video actually talking about this item. And I went to go visit my parents after quarantine lifted, and it was in the middle of summer. So I went to Ulta to purchase some things that I had forgotten, which were dry shampoo, you know, a shower cap to keep my hair from getting wet in the shower and whatnot. And I ended up purchasing this, and it is a Smashbox Halo Healthy Glow All-in-One Tinted Moisturizer. This does have an SPF of 25. I love this tinted moisturizer. This will be forevermore, as long as they keep it in stock, I guess, the only tinted moisturizer I will ever buy. It is so beautiful, and it really does give you just this really healthy glow to your skin. It creates kind of this beautifully consistent look to your face, but also like this healthy glow. I feel like you don't even have to wear like primer with this, like an ethereal primer with it, to have it give you that ethereal glow. It is a beautiful tinted moisturizer, and so thin. I don't feel like I need very much of it. I feel like it could go on with my fingers with a brush or with a sponge and have the same kind of application. It's just a beautiful veil over the top of your skin. And this is a powder that I actually used last year for the first time, and it's a powder that is all over the universe, but it is also by Hourglass. It's the Hourglass Ambient Diffused Light, and I know a lot of people don't really understand this powder because I'm not even sure what it's supposed to be. Honestly, is it a setting powder? Is it highlight, like a really lit from within kind of highlight, like a you got to know it's there to see it highlight? What is it? I use it as a setting powder, and that is where I have found the most successful with it. It's honestly a powder that I can see myself repurchasing, and you guys know that I'm not a powder person. So this, in addition to the Charlotte Tilbury Airless Flawless that I found last year, or in 2019, that I used up entirely in the first part of my project pan for 2020, I could see me having just these two powders in my collection for the rest of eternity. This powder, I don't know what happens with it, but it goes onto your face and just kind of melts everything together. It's like magic. And it's not magic, don't get me wrong, but it is like magic. You put it onto your skin and it just melts like your brush, your blush, your bronzer, your highlight all together into this one like cohesive, consistent color story on your face. I love this powder. It was in my project pan last year, and it is in my project pan to start with this year, just because I want to get the mini out of my life, finish off some other powders, go get this full size because I just love this powder. It's expensive, but it's a beautiful, beautiful powder. And you know, here's the thing, like there's nothing spectacular about it truly, and it does look like it's white, but that's like it's, I don't know, highlighting nature of it. It's just so pretty, and it's so finely milled. It feels like silk on the skin. I just love it. I just love it. So it was a favorite for me this year. The next thing is this. It is the Bobbi Brown Face Base. And you guys know that I got this for Christmas. You guys have already seen that video. My man bought it for me because in my samples videos I had a really decent size sample of this face base. I used it forever because this little tiny sample lasted forever, and I loved what it did for my skin. So it's a vitamin enriched face base, which is an all-in-one primer and moisturizer, and I just felt my skin looked fantastic with this over the top of it. It is really expensive. This is a $62 moisturizer slash primer, and I feel like that's too expensive. I wouldn't purchase it, which is why it wasn't in my collection until my man bought it for me for Christmas. But I really love this. And Bobbi Brown isn't one of those, it's just not one of those brands that I'm immediately drawn to. If I had not received this and used it in a sample series, I wouldn't know anything about this and probably wouldn't purchase it. But I had heard like a lot of people on the YouTube talking about the Bobbi Brown face base. It didn't even clue me into it was something that I needed to use. If you're a dry skin kid, you would love that Bobbi Brown face base. I think that it is phenomenal, and it just did so many great things to the skin that I have on my face to put makeup over the top of. It was just beautiful. Using it consistently, my skin looked so good. It is lightly scented though, so if you're not into scents, you might not like it. I don't think it's offensive scent, but it is a little bit citrusy. It is beautiful. I loved it on my skin. The next thing, I don't have it in my possession right now to show you because I used it all, because I emptied it, because I loved it. It is the ABH Contour Stick. I had the shade Mink. I felt like it was a really great color for me. This is a contour stick that as soon as I'm done with the rest of my contour sticks, it again is a contour stick that I can see, I'm saying this over and over and over again with these fave finds of 2020, I can see me purchasing this contour stick and never having to purchase a different contour stick. While I love my Benefit Hoola Contour Stick, I feel like it's maybe just a smidge too warm and maybe just a smidge too creamy for my liking. The ABH one is amazing. And the funny story is I thought that their foundation sticks are super stiff, and I don't like them because of how stiff they are, but I thought I was going to see that same kind of thought process with the contour stick. But it works for the contour stick. I love that contour stick. I got it, just a little tiny guy, in my Simply Sample series and used it until it was gone. I just loved the application of it. I loved how it blended out. In addition, you guys are gonna be like, you've never tried that before? No, I purchased it at TJ Maxx, I think at the beginning of 2020. This is the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil. You guys, I would put that mink on my face and then put the chocolate Soleil over the top of it. Do you see how like gray toned this is? I love it as a contour powder. So I would put that cream contour on and then I would go over it and set it with this guy, and I still do that even with the Hoola bronzer. I'm wearing it today. I think it's just so stunning as a contour. And you know, this has been out forever, so why have I been sleeping on the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil? I have no idea, but I did fall in love with this product this year. Another one that I fell in love with this year, and actually is new to me this year, and I believe new to makeup, period, this year, is this Patrick Ta blush. So this is the Double Take Creme and Powder Blush in Oh She's Different. Specifically, the one I'm talking about is this cream blush. You guys, this is just the most beautiful cream blush. Let me tell you what is shocking to me about this cream blush. Many cream blushes I put on my face, they sink into my skin. My skin kind of eats away the cheap products that are in my life. This lasts forever on my face. It doesn't sit on top of it. It does sink in. It looks really natural, but this lasts forever on my face, and I haven't used the powder topper to it at all, so it's just this cream blush. I remember I'd had my makeup on my face for about 10 hours at this point. I remember going into the bathroom and going, oh my god, I can still see my blush. Like typically 10 hours, 5 hours, and even for the most part, my blush is gone. My blush, my highlight, my everything is gone. It wasn't with this Patrick Ta blush. I was shocked, and I will be buying more in 2021. I think that his blushes are spectacular. The next two items I fell in love with are also blushes. They are also blushes that lasted forever on my face, but they are powder. So the first one is the Wet n Wild. This is the Color Icon blush. It is in the shade Mellow Wine. It's totally my color story. And then the other one is the Bareminerals Gen Nude powder blush, and this is in On the Mauve. Also totally my color story. I mean, look, they look the exact same. I wouldn't say that the Wet n Wild one is a dupe for the Gen Nude. I definitely think the Gen Nude has a little bit silkier of a feel, a little bit more finely milled, and looks a little bit better on my skin, honestly, than this one. But I would say that the formulations of these blushes are fantastic. The Wet n Wild blush came to me through that Subscriber Buys My Makeup, and I couldn't be happier that JC chose this blush because I love this blush. It lasts forever on my skin, and as a powder blush, that's unheard of for me. The same goes for this guy though. I do have a partnership through my beauty industry job with Bareminerals, and she sent me a couple of blushes, including this full-size one, and I was stoked to have it in my collection, and even more so stoked when I tried it and it lasted on my face as long as it has. Bareminerals is one of those brands that I really love almost everything I try from them, if not everything I try from them. I am looking sideways at these blushes. They last forever on my face, and I love this color. And this also came to me in Subscriber Buys My Makeup. This is the Revlon Skin Lights highlighter, and this is in Daybreak. Reminds me of a wannabe Emrezy from ABH as far as like what it looks like in the pan, because I don't know if you guys can see, but it kind of has this ripple. It also has like this, I don't know, fish scale motif going on it, but it is such a beautiful gold highlight. It's just so pretty, and it is lately, it's been the gold highlight that I pull for when I want a gold highlight on my face. I don't think it's as finely milled as, you know, some of my higher end ones. I think that for the price, it's probably one of my more high maintenance highlighters, but I do love it. The next one I have is this. This is the Nabla Skin Glazing Highlight in Privilege, and Nabla is a brand that I just discovered in 2020. I recently started started being sold at Ulta, and that's how I came into play with this. I remember when these were teased on Trend Mood, the 6 different highlighters that you could get from Nabla, and I wanted one so bad. Somehow my local store to me ended up getting this one in their returns, and I picked it up. It is the Nabla Skin Glazing Glass Skin Finish Glow Powder in Privilege. And this is just such a beautiful highlighter. It's got this like almost bouncy texture. I think I've said before, it kind of reminds me as a Super Shock, but not as fragile, I guess, or wet. And then you just put it on and it is so pretty. It's kind of like this pinky, like champagne-y glow, and I just can't with this highlight. I love this highlight. When I have like hardly any makeup on my face, I will put this highlight on and it just accentuates everything I want it to and doesn't accentuate anything I don't want it to, because I believe the texture of it is just so great for helping to hide the texture on your face, if that makes any sense. It kind of goes like cream to powder almost, this kind of presence of it, but not. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but it's so good. It's called a glass powder because it literally is a glass powder. It might as well not be a powder on your skin. I think it's just so pretty. This is the Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer. This is a primer that came to me through my sample series. The sample was in a little tiny itty bitty glass jar that looked very much like this. It goes on your skin and it feels like you're putting fabric on your skin because it's just so soft, almost powdery. It feels like you're pushing powder into your skin. I don't know, it's just the weirdest sensation. It reminds me of that Becca powder that when you put it on your face, it feels like water, but it's actually a powder. It kind of gave me that like weird sensation, like you know that something else is going on your skin. So the feeling it gives to you is, it kind of tricks your brain a little bit. This is just so beautiful, and everything I put over the top of it was also just so beautiful. Hourglass recently came to Ulta and I purchased this with points. So I didn't spend the money on this. I don't suggest anybody spend the money on this. This guy and this guy, they're both super expensive. So unless it's in your budget, don't do it. But if it is in your budget, this is a fantastic primer. It looks so good on my skin. It feels so good on my skin. The next one I want to talk about is this. It is the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector. Now, while this is one of my favorite finds of the year, I don't think that you absolutely need to have this in your collection, but I really love it for no makeup days. And the reason why is because on no makeup days, I'm not wearing any makeup to help cover up like my incredibly large under eye bags and the discoloration of them. So I use this on no makeup, no base makeup days to really build into those discolorations in those eye bags in a way that makes me feel more comfortable with putting eye makeup on, because there was often days where I would go into a store and wear just a mask and eye makeup. Well, eye makeup looks incredibly odd on a face that's also not a full face, especially the amount of eye makeup I'm wearing. I am super comfortable in my skin. I'm just not super comfortable with my crazy discolored under eye bags to put on a crazy eye look and feel like I'm well put together. So I would use this Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector to not only brighten up my under eyes, but also to correct the discoloration of my under eye bags on no makeup days. I deem my under eye bags and my under eye discoloration as a challenge to my mental well-being. When I go out in public and you can see them raging their ugly little head. So I was using this quite often when I was doing a full eye makeup routine, but not a full face routine, to help hide those dark circles, and it became one of my favorite products of 2020 for sure. The Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. I know this has been out for a long time, but I also know that I just found it this year. I do believe I got it in gratis, but I also know that they ain't paying me to say anything. Like, I work for Ulta, so, you know, I get stuff in gratis. That's just a perk of my job. But this 24-hour brow setter is phenomenal in your brows when you want your brows set in a way that they still feel like human hair. You know, they're soft, they're not crunchy, they're beautiful, and more of a natural kind of look 24-hour brow setter. I think that this is spectacular. It's clear. The wand, I really love the wand on this more than I love any other brow setting product. It looks rounded, but when you turn it, when you flip it, you realize it's flat, and it just has the pokies all along the edges of it. So you can use this top part here to really get into those brow hairs and like manipulate them in a way that you want them to lay, and then kind of brush it through. I love this. And let's talk about the packaging. Like, Benefit is always on par with their packaging. You all know I have been on a journey over the last year to find an eyeliner that is waterproof. Funny story, these work so good as an eyeliner and are waterproof. They're meant for your brows. I have used them in my brows and they are phenomenal for that usage, but they're also pretty phenomenal for eyeliner. So I can do any color eyeliner I want. I know it's not going to go anywhere. I know it's not going to budge, and I have them perfect for my brows as well if I want to do some kind of colored brow, which I think is fun, actually. Lower lash line liners that I fell in love with this year that JC also introduced me to through that subscriber buys my makeup are these LA Girl Shockwave liners. These are amazing. These go into your waterline. They do not budge. They're great for smudging out as long as you work with them kind of quickly, because once they're smudged out, they're stagnant. They stay put. They don't move into the inner corners of your eyes. They stay where they're supposed to stay. They just create really fun looks for your eyes. Now, she bought me the black one and thought she had bought a colored one as well. But after using the black one, I went and purchased every single color that they had, including some lip liners that I use as eyeliners, because they're so kind to your under eye. They go on with little to no effort at all, and they're a little bit movable in the beginning, but then they don't go anywhere. So I really love these for my waterline. I wish they would make these also in not so neon colors, so that are like maybe more grungy than these are, because I think that they would suit my collection just a little bit better, or my makeup aesthetic just a little bit better. But I love these guys. This is the Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara. This is a tubing mascara, and I think tubing mascara is just overall a mascara that I've fallen in love with this year, because it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't create any kind of like craziness on your under eye. You're never going to get those raccoon eyes. You're never going to have that with a tubing mascara. This is the only mascara that I will use on my lower lash line. It doesn't bother my eyes at all. It's so easy to get off, but it stays in place while it's on, and it's the only one I'll use on my lower lash line. I love this mascara. All right, some lip products I fell in love with this year. I have quite a few, actually. So let's talk about this first. It is a lip primer. MAC is also one of the business partners through my job, and I purchased for the first time this year a bunch of MAC products. Honestly, they had this thing going on where you could get like 7 full-size MAC products for the same price as what you pay for one of those Tarte Create Your Own Tarte kits. I think it was somewhere around $63, $67, something like that. Anyways, I got 7 full-size items, and one of the full-size items I got was this. It is the MAC Prep and Prime for your lips. It's a lip primer. It looks like this. It's just a white like conditioning primer. So I usually put it on my lips prior to even doing my base makeup and let it sit on my lips and really create that emollient lip that I want it to have for lipstick. And then by the time I go in and put lipstick on my lips, my lips look so plump. My lipstick isn't like falling into the, you know, dried out lines on my lips. The next thing are these. These are some lip liners that I have fallen in love with this year. And you guys know that this one actually came into my life in December. So for these to be something that I have grown to love in 2020 in like 4 weeks time, that says a lot. These lip liners are so nice. There's no tugging, no pulling, no nothing. They just go on so creamy, yet stay where they need to stay and dry down rather well, to the extent that they're not really transferring also. And this is the Colourpop Lippy Pencil. I love these lip pencils. They are so creamy and dry down perfectly well enough that I feel like I'm wearing a matte lipstick, only comfortably. The next one would be the Juvia's Place one. I love this one for the same reasons. The one thing that I like more about this one, I think, is that it is a retractable pencil, so I don't have to sharpen it. Sometimes sharpening these like plastic pencils is a little bit rough, honestly. These are also so creamy. They go on no tugging, no pulling. They go on super creamy. They dry down pretty matte. They're beautiful color stories. They feel a wee bit nourishing on my lips, more nourishing than the Colourpop ones. This is the Zoeva Graphic Lips Eternal Brightness lip pencil. It's waterproof. It's amazing. It stays on. It dries down. It doesn't transfer. I think that's my favorite part of using a lip liner as a lipstick, is that it doesn't go anywhere. You will not find a lipstick in this, my favorite finds of 2020, because I did find lipsticks, but I didn't find any that I absolutely loved. You will find a gloss, though. I do have 2 glosses here. This Zoeva Melody Lip Gloss in Radiant Flight. You guys, when I first purchased this, I was like, that looks like it's interesting. It looks a wee bit milky. It's kind of silver. I thought I wouldn't wear it as much as I wear it. I wear this lip gloss almost daily. It has a little bit of like a shimmer in it, like a silver shimmer in it, but the milky pinkness of it is just so pretty. It just gives the perfect like glow to my lips. I've had so many compliments on this lip gloss. I wear it in a lot of videos, and a lot of you have said, I love that gloss that you're wearing on your lips. It's 9 times out of 10 it's this one. And in addition to that one, you guys will see this one is another one of my favorites. Look at how similar they look. This one is the same kind as that one, with the milkiness, almost the beiginess, the like my lips but better shade. Very creamy, very neutral, but it does have a little bit of a pigmentation to it versus the sheerness of it, and it doesn't have this sparkle. So that is it right there. I love using that lip gloss with this lip liner, and it just gives like almost the perfect like pinky nude shade for my lips. That gloss with that lip liner were perfection. This one, not sticky at all. Feels great for a lip gloss. I think that it goes on. It doesn't create those like, you know, little strindles that you get when you wear too much gloss. This one, a little bit sticky. Not like offensively sticky, and not like you're going to be prying your lips apart sticky, just a little bit of tacky sticky. Then we have some eyeshadows, and I'm going to talk a little bit about these e.l.f. Bite Size just one more time. Like, these would have never come into my collection. You guys know I am not a drugstore person. I do not even go to the mass side of my stores and think, I really want that. Like, BH was a stretch for me. I do love me some BH. e.l.f. is just not a brand that I'm interested in very often. These are $3 and they still did not call my attention. JC bought them and subscriber buys my makeup, and I couldn't be more grateful that she did, because I wouldn't have tried them otherwise, and they are so good. You guys, they are so good. Probably my favorite is this one here, because I mean, it's green. Green is my favorite color, so that's like a given. But just to put it into perspective for you, this one is the Rose Water one. This shimmer shade right here, I mean, like, I was shocked at how well these performed. For $3, you can't get much better than that. What I don't like about these palettes is almost every single one of them, the mattes, I feel like there is a matte in almost every single one that I have. has glitter in it. You guys know how I feel about glitter mattes. I just think it's filler product. I think it's ridiculous. I think that it just creates inconsistencies in a blend. I don't like glitter mattes. I don't. Unless there's enough glitter in it that it can be applied on your eye and look like it's got glitter in it, I think that they're ridiculous. But like, this performs better than some of my high-end shimmers do. The two brands that I tried in 2020 that I really fell in love with are Melt and Sigma. So with Melt Cosmetics, prior to holiday 2019, they weren't on my list. I can't think of one thing that Melt put out that I desperately wanted. Their stacks were interesting, but I wasn't spending $50, almost $60 on 4 eyeshadows. I wasn't doing it. I think that their higher price ones, the like $58 ones, had 5 eyeshadows in them, but I still wasn't doing it. They came out with the Amor Eterno collection holiday 2019, and I was like,
I need that in my collection. Melt, please send it to me in my collection.
Because I didn't want to pay the money for it. Come February 2020, my friend Grace was at a beauty convention of some, it might have been Naha. I can't remember which one it was, if I'm honest. She was at this beauty convention and she texted me and she said, "Are you still interested in the Melt Amor Eterno collection?" And I'm like, yes, sadly. Why? And she goes, "Because it's here and it's 40% off." And I'm like, I want one of everything. Buy me one of everything. So I sent her some money. She purchased me a bunch and then she sent it to me. I ended up getting both of the palettes. So I do have the palettes right up here of the Vita and the Muerte palette. And I also have the highlight from that. So she got me them. She sent me them. And you guys, I loved that collection and wanted that collection so much. Had hyped it up in my brain, and I'm telling you, it met every single aspect of that hype that I had hyped up in my brain for it to be, to the extent that I ended up purchasing more from Melt over this last year. So I have 2 blushes from them at this point. I have that highlighter, I have those 2 palettes. I also purchased 2 different stacks, which I think you guys can see up there. I really love Melt as brand. As far as brands that I want to be on a PR list for, Natasha Denona, Melt, ABH. Those are the 3 brands. Those are the 3 brands. I would die 1,000 deaths if I could be on the PR for those 3 brands. But I do love Melt Cosmetics. I will continue to keep them in my eyesight for more. The next brand that I fell in love with this year was Sigma. I initially, getting into the makeup world like 4 years ago, you didn't hear a whole lot about Sigma, and over the last several years you're hearing more and more about Sigma, and it's typically about their brushes. And really, that's what drew my attention to this brand. We have these beautiful, expensive brushes that me influencers were collaborating with Sigma to make favorites. Around maybe June, July, August, I got an email saying that I could get this rather large brush kit from Sigma. What was stopping me before was the price tag. This $400 brush set from Sigma for like half price. So I did it. So I spent, you know, $200 on brushes from Sigma, but I got 15 brushes and I fell in love with these brushes. And since then, I have purchased more brushes. I have purchased both the Untamed and the Enchanted palette, and I purchased brushes for my daughter for Christmas. So these are some of the brushes that I got in that first initial haul of their brushes. This one is the Sigma Emphasize Contour. It's the F57, and this is the perfect brush for contouring. Just not only for swiping the contour on, but then turning it to its side and kind of blending it out into the hollows of your cheeks. In addition, we have this one, which is the Sigma Small Contour. It's the F05. I use this one for the powder contour that I put over the top of the cream contour, and just kind of use it to blend that all over into the hollows of my face that I want to like create shadow on. I also use it for bronzer. Like, you don't have to specifically use it for what the purpose is for it being made. Whatever you find a brush is good for, it's good for. Don't worry about what the brush says it is. But these are my favorite eye brushes by them too. 3 of my favorites anyways. And this one is the E27 Detail Blending. It looks like this. It's very thin, but also kind of like wide, almost like a packer, but splays out very nicely for a blender brush. This one is the Precision Firm Blender. It's the E42. I really love this one for under eye. I think that this one is the perfect little like stiff but still blendy brush for your under eye. And then this one is the Detailed Diffused Crease, and it's the E33, and it's also got this kind of interesting shape. It's kind of flat, but it's also wide, which makes it perfect for getting into the hollows of your crease and blending upwards. I do feel like brushes will make the difference in your eye look. And just to put it into perspective for you, I have these 2 brushes, right? These 2 brushes look very much alike. One is a Morphe brush by Jaclyn Hill, and one is a Sigma brush. They're both the same shape. You guys can see that, but when you turn them, this one is splayed out, and it doesn't do that until you're using it. So as you're blending your color, no matter how light of touch you have in the color that you're trying to blend, it just splays. And this is a $6 Morphe brush, right? This is like a $15 Sigma brush, and this one is very flat. It stays very flat. It stays very tapered, and no matter how much I blend, it stays this shape. And that is, I guess, I think, what the biggest difference between a really spendy brush and a not so spendy brush is that you're going to have your brushes maintain the shape that you want them to maintain, no matter how much usage you have of them. Now, they do come with a 2-year warranty as well, so I know that if it doesn't maintain its shape, if I'm ever unhappy with it within the next, you know, couple years, well, year and a half at this point, I know I can return it and get another one just like it, or my money back. And I think that that is important when you're spending money on brushes. Another brush that I love that I found this year, because I got it in my Beautylish Lucky Bag, is the Wayne Goss powder brush. These are so soft, so soft. I don't poke. They're not pokey. This one's kind of pokey. This one, so soft. This is so soft. I love using it for highlight. I just dip it into my highlight and then just pat it all the way around where I want my highlight to go, and it just disperses it pretty perfectly. It's so soft, and I've washed it so many times, and it's so soft. That's what I would say is the biggest difference between expensive brushes and cheaper brushes. Is cheaper brushes you're going to have to repurchase probably over and over and over again, because they deteriorate quite quickly. Actually, my Sigma brushes, my Wayne Goss brush, I've used these guys all the time since getting them in my collection. I've washed them all the time. You all know I wash my brushes every single day in between uses. They're pristine. They still feel and look like they're brand new brushes, except for maybe some staining, but other than that, amazing. With that being said, those are my favorite finds of 2020. I know that this video is going to be hella long, so in editing I'm gonna try and, you know, knock it down as much as possible, but there's a lot in here and a lot that I don't want you to miss out on via me editing it out. So I'm sorry if this video is so long. I do hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope that you have some words of wisdom that you can share about my favorite finds of 2020, but I also would love to know what your favorite finds of 2020 were, whether they were launched this year or not, because that's, you know, how I do mine. I would love to know down in the comment section, so please leave me some comments down there. I hope that you guys liked this video enough that you're considering giving it a big thumbs up. I also hope that you liked it or me enough that you're considering subscribing before you go. Would love to have you along for this crazy midlife crisis of mine, and to welcome you into my YouTube family. That would be amazing. If you do subscribe, please don't forget to hit the notification bell. It will notify notify you every single time I upload. I do upload content multiple times a week, and I would hate for you to miss anything. I hope that January so far is treating you well, 2021 is treating you well, and that you and yours are safe. I do hope that we're all still keeping ourselves safe while we're out there in public, whether that means wearing a mask or just not going out, whatever it means to you. Please keep yourself safe out there. I also hope that you all are loving each other, but loving each other from afar. And until next time, bye everyone.
I totally forgot he was out there doing that. The man is out there cutting up wood to make more things out of his wood. And, out of his wood. Inappropriate. I've just been demonetized. Oh, I'm not monetized. I don't care what I say. Oh, come on, JD. Turn off that wood cutter. What is it called? A saw. Oh my god, what are they doing now? Yep, wrong day to film, I guess.